line. Coach described them as disruptive repeatedly. What were they so good at doing on the evening?
It was good to get out there. Got a lot of different combinations of people in there, especially in the back seven between linebackers and DBs. So they're all necessary reps. I thought, for the most part, execution was good. I thought our tackling was sloppy. We made a lot of costly penalties. I don't think we were very disruptive in the pass rush. I thought we were better in the run game. But we hit the target of getting, it was important in this scrimmage not only get certain people the right reps, but we were going to push with what we were doing. In the spring, you just try to keep it as vanilla as you can and making sure everybody understands concepts and they play hard and they tackle. We were going to try to push what we were doing today in the execution to make sure, all this, the second group of line of players and the linebacker group that haven't played much for us yet, we were trying to give them, multiple calls and just push all that on them to make sure the execution level is where we want. So I was happy with the execution part of things, with the amount that we tried to get looked at and run, but really sloppy in tackling. I thought we could rush the passer better than we did, and then we had a lot of costly penalties.
Hi, Adam. The answer to the question might be that it's too early to tell, but have you gotten an idea of the defense's identity 8 or 9 practices into camp here?
We play hard. I know that. I never take it for granted because effort is hard for all of us, but through the winter, through the spring, through the summer, through now, I do feel like they will go out there and they'll put a really good effort out there, and that is a big identity right now. I think the details with this group continue, to have to be pushed, and that's not because they don't want to. It's just trying to create some intensity with the reps to gain some experience with some of that next group, whether you call them 1B or 2s. But we play hard, and we practice hard, and it's part of our program and our identity. But I am seeing that, and I am proud of them for that.
Some of the things that showed up tonight in terms of some of the maybe sloppy tackling or, some of the penalties and things like that, had those shown up in the first 8 practices too, or was that kind of surprising?
Well, we don't tackle, and there's not refs there, but we try to coach the PIs. It's one thing, Ira, when you coach them in 7-on-7, it's different when the ref marks off 15 yards and you feel it. But we're coaching it, and I think it is something that you see some of those wide hands that we got to improve on. We try to be very disruptive in coverage, but you got to do it with discipline and with technique. The tackling, I'm a true believer that there's only so many opportunities to fully bring guys on the ground. I embrace that, though. That's part of how you got to build your team and practice against the offense. So, we try to be as creative, as constructive with the drill work that we do. We try to continue to find ways to coach it. But, in some of it, like I thought Sam, ran really, really hard tonight. Singleton. I mean, I was really impressed with his leg drive and running through tackles. But we always got to believe that we control the end result when it comes to tackling, no matter who we play against. It's our job to knock them back and get them on the ground, and just we got to make strides.
Adam, Coach Norvell talked about, I think, a lot of guys, the more known commodities were maybe a little more limited with the rep count tonight. Who of maybe the younger guys do you see take advantage of that? And what does, a guy who takes advantage of that opportunity on that stage tell you about how you kind of influence decisions and things like that?
Well, I told the defense, we're looking for effort, we're looking for execution, and then we're looking for consistency, and that gives us the best idea of what we're going to get in the middle of the third quarter on a game day, and from week 1 to week 15. And so those are things I tell you, if you want to get on the field, play with great effort, execute. Part execution is not only doing your job, but tackling and making plays on the ball. And then consistency within that. On and off the field, we know what we're going to get out of you. And so those are the things we put forward for them. And you say the young guys, but, they're guys like Cam Riley got a bunch of snaps tonight because he needs it. Earl Little, Kevin Knowles, guys like that who aren't really young, but, guys that need the reps within us. Tamawa, Darryl Jackson, so it wasn't just, a young group. I mean, the young guys for sure, Juice, Blake, they got needed reps. Quindarius Jones, Edwin Joseph, basically the entire safety group outside of Shaheem all needed reps. The Jabril Rawls, so they just we've got a lot of guys that I think can help us. We've got to hit on making sure that we play in those three categories that I named. And so, it'd probably be easier if you name some guys and I can give you a little bit more details. There's just there's a bunch of names that had a lot of reps, that we're continuing to try to push to get better.
Coach, it's only the first scrimmage, but communication is such a big key, I feel like, definitely in the secondary, but overall as a defense. How do you feel communication has been throughout camp and then specifically going into the first scrimmage this evening?
It can be better. You can't take anything for granted. And, communication, even, when you have returners playing together, in the summer is great. We try to push it, but you're working on your individual skills. But, we play so much connected coverages and within the run fits that, guys have to be on the same page. And, we work it every day. The intensity when you get out there and doke, is part of how you got to put them in it. But I like where we're at with it. I think our guys respect it. And that's part of it. They don't take it for granted, and it's something that comes more natural to some. We have some elite communicators, and then we have some guys that got to get better with it. And we just got to make sure the guys that need to get better with it don't rely on the elite ones, because sometimes those guys aren't in the game, and we got to make sure we play together.
You mentioned some of the, younger or newer linebackers like Cam, Blake, Juice. How have those guys been doing throughout the duration of camp?
Really good. Excited about that crew. Really looking forward. Omar Graham, is in that group. He's just been with me for a couple of years now, and played a role last year. But, excited about the group. I think they've all got a chance. I think we'll be deeper, but we got to continue to push the high-level play out of that group.
Coach Norvell said there were some missed opportunities for the defense tonight, particularly, on one long drive that maybe the first team offense had. Is it just a matter of learning how to finish, or was there, or are you encouraged by the fact that there were opportunities to make those plays?
It was a long drive. It was a really long drive. There were multiple third downs, and we got to get off the field. There were it might have been a 19, 20 play drive. And sometimes you look up and next thing you know it's a first down. You're trying to quarterback here, quarterback there, nickel. But it was just one of those drives, early in camp, was, where you're rolling guys in and out because you're trying not to get guys playing extended minutes. But anytime you have that long of a drive, you got to think you have enough playmakers that you got to get off the field at one point. It even went down. I think that was the drive that they got the ball down on the 2. And we hit them about 4 yards deep in the backfield, and Sam broke about 3 or 4 tackles and rolled into the end zone. That's how that drive finished. So, there was a scramble, there was a nickel and dime play. I mean, it was just there were a lot of different. Anytime you go a 19-play drive, there's probably not one time that you had an opportunity off the field. There are probably multiple. You obviously, I don't want to say it's a third down issue. But, a drive like that, you have multiple opportunities to get off the field. I've always said if you can limit big plays against us, we're going to make more than we don't, and we're going to get off the field. So that was one of the drives that we didn't. And so, yes, sir. Thank you for bringing that drive up. I appreciate that.
Any other questions?
Oh, what about the drive you guys did good? That 1 3 and out. You know, what happened there on that drive? Adam, you guys, you know, they look really well coached and organized, but no, let's go to the negative. Yay.
Let's do one more from Logan here.
Did I make you do that?
No, he raised his hand.
I'll take any more questions I can get. The second deep in the defensive tackle room, what do you see from that room specifically? It's going to be a big pivotal part for you guys this upcoming season, but what do you see behind Farmer and Darrell Jackson and moving forward into the rest of camp? What do you want to see from those guys?
Well, Logan, we're putting that together now. I've been going through with Odell, and you know, I do think we have six guys that can play for us at D tackle. And so there's times Josh and Darrell playing together. That's good, but there'll be a healthy rotation. As you guys know how I like to do it, or we like to do it. And so, you know, there's 2 deep, there's 3 deep, there's 1 deep, there's third down group, there's first down groups. And so, you know, right now we're not, I think any of those 6 can play together. I'm not too keen on trying to lock into the D tackle rotation yet, as much as just trying to get them playing together. You know, there are certain skill sets that are better in certain scenarios, but I'm not going to be that specific yet. We're just trying to get them all ready for first through fourth down. But the healthy part is we have 6 guys in there that will play. And, you know, obviously the reps will be varied a little bit, but don't be surprised when you see Josh with one of the other 4 and Darrell with one of the other 4, and then sometimes obviously Josh and Darrell are going to be together. You know, there'll be a healthy mix of that D tackle room where we're trying to do some things, you know, front wise, you know, to try to really take advantage of some of those skill sets that we have at D tackle. I mean, this is like the Olympic basketball team. I have now, the ball is in the air, you're above the rim. Like, what are we going to do? Go ahead.
I'm going to lay it in gently. When we're at practice, there are a lot of times we see the younger DBs like Q and Jabril and Edwin and all those guys making plays. Are they close? Like, in terms of, is there not much of a gap? It doesn't look to us or me like there's much of a gap.
Well,
how well are those guys?
You're talking about the gap between the players you mentioned, or the gap between Fentrell and AZ and Shy and them?
Those guys, the younger guys to the older.
Yeah, I would say this. I'd say, you know, you go to one-on-one drills, probably very similar. A lot of skill there, a lot of skill in tackling, a lot of skill as cover guys. The maturity of Azarie, the game knowledge of Shy, you know, Fenn, I think, is one of our most improved players. You know, they just bring so much confidence, maturity, execution. But you've seen, I mean, every year we usually play at least 3 corners. You know, I think between Earl and Kevin, and then either Jabril or Eddie, I think we've got depth at nickel, which will help us in dime. And so, you know, Quindarius, Ed, Jabril, you know, those guys specifically, you know, at corner and nickel, like they'll play. You know, how much was still to be determined, but you're seeing it right. They're impactful, you know, and I say this, every team in the country has 16 to 18 DBs on scholarship. When you don't make any mistakes and every one of them can play, you end up being really good. And, you know, I think we've done that at defensive back. I think everybody from Ricky Knight to Charles Lester to Kai Bates to the group that you just mentioned, to Ashlyn Barker to KJ Kirkland, I feel, listen, every one of them are not All-Americans yet. But I think we can get winning football in certain roles out of all of them. And, you know, that's exciting to me and to Pat and to our entire, you know, defensive staff. Thanks, guys. That 3 and out looked good, too. Thanks. Cool.